This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop, tablet, Xbox, games, or a whole lot more, you can get them at the Microsoft Store. Remember, current students, faculty, parents, and active military can save up to 10% off almost everything. To browse the products and learn more about the discounts, you can go to f5live.tv/Microsoft. All right. So, speaking of not Microsoft, let's go the other way and talk about Apple. A lot of things happened for Apple this week. Two primary announcements. First was the onslaught of new Macs, and the second was quarterly earnings. And interestingly, there is a correlation. During the quarterly earnings, we discovered that Mac sales were down year over year, 34%. Now, I suspect that a lot of that has to do with two things. One, this quarter last year was the largest quarter for Mac sales in corporate history. So it's always going to be hard to compete with that. But they also have had a problem of there was a huge change and now it's been incremental again, right? Apple has been on Intel processors for a long time. They switched over to their own silicon. Corporate buyers, engineers, software engineers, creatives, all looked to replace their Macs from Intel to the M series. Well, now we've got them. And there hasn't been anything particularly compelling from M1 to M2 to convince anybody to upgrade. And so here we are. And from the M2 to the M3, which they announced this week, there's still nothing terribly compelling. Unless you've just got money to throw around. You know, the difference between an M1 and an M3 in the same product category, not particularly spectacular. And so I think they saw a peak because of their technology change, and this valley is going to plateau and live here for a while. That's my personal suspicion.
Well, look, the biggest competitor to new computer sales is the existing computer that you have. Right? There's no computer that you have, like if you have a computer that's 5 years old, it might still be quite good for you. And that's the problem. That's why Microsoft came up with Windows 11 and they gave it new hardware requirements, right? I think the best thing that could happen to the computer industry is if they developed something that would self-destruct after a little while. It was just like Mission Impossible or something, and the computer would self-destruct after a year or something, and smoke would come out because these things last a long time. My colleague Matt Safford always tells me this.
I'm sitting here doing the show on a first-gen Surface Book.
Right, exactly. So my colleague Matt Safford always says that he said he was talking to somebody, I forget who it was in the industry, about desktops, and they said they hate desktops because they last too long. They last forever. So this is what we all have to compete with. This is what the industry has to compete with, which is, hey, did you buy something 2 years ago? Well, we're not going to get you to upgrade. But I think you have to look at it more along the lines of, what about the people who didn't buy an M1 yet, didn't buy an M2 yet? Is this the time in their cycle where they will upgrade?
Sure. That's that's a great question, right? Why haven't they upgraded? That's always the question. Is it because
the old one works?
Right, exactly. Now, depending on the people who did upgrade, did so either because it was time to upgrade or because, like myself, you have to be able to test software on the Intel and the M series because they behave incredibly differently. Right.
Yeah.
So
Also,
so some of us have very specific and weird reasons for having to have an M series. Upstairs in the office, I have an Intel, an M1, and an M2. Not because I want to, but because that's
but because
just
you have to test it,
right.
right? I mean, that's not, that's a
Normal.
subsection. People who are developers who are testing things are
Right.
a really small sliver of the market and
Right.
not enough to really make or break the sales.
Although
So
although with Apple, it is actually a surprisingly higher percent than it is with Microsoft, a Windows computer. With Apple, developers actually account for a statistically significant amount of their sales simply because if you're building anything for iPhone, you have to have a Mac in your stack, whether you like it or not. So,
yep, yep. So yeah, so I mean, and look, the platform has changed physically. So yeah, if I were a Mac user, I would want to be off of Intel because it's like another abandoned world
right,
now. So I wouldn't want to be in the abandoned to be continuing to live in the abandoned world.
right,
Um, so yeah, I mean, people will who are still on Intel Macs will have to upgrade, but it's I mean, it's hard to get people to upgrade frequently. I mean, Apple, especially in the case of Apple, you've got a very expensive premium product, right? The
right.
cheapest new Mac is like $1,000, I think, and that's with ridiculously low end specs that no one should buy, like 256 gig SSD.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want a serviceable Mac, you probably got to spend like 1,500 MacBook. You probably have to spend like $1,500. That's that's a lot. So
Yeah.
that's a lot to ask of people, and so they're going to hold on to these for a long time. Uh, but I think we're all faced with that dilemma, right? Like I love my ThinkPad X1 Carbon PC laptop. I have had it now for 5 years, and it still works. Like it could be faster. I'd like it to be a little bit faster, but when is the time to spend the next $1,500 to get a new one that is just iteratively better? I don't know, right?
Was was
So
that saga really 5 years ago?
time really flies, doesn't it?
Wow.
Yes, yes, yes. 2018. That's when it
Wow.
happened. 20,
Okay.
2018. Yeah, I don't want to go through the saga again, but yeah. Uh, so so yeah, I mean, like you got to either people's old computer has to be sufficiently run down that they feel like they need a new one,
Mm-hmm.
or you got to offer a new feature that
Right.
is a game changer. And like in my case, I certainly haven't seen anything that is a game changer off of the models that have come out since mine, like
Mm-hmm.
slightly faster processor, change the screen aspect ratio. Okay, nothing fundamentally changed. Now, and not not necessarily bad because I don't want to change for the worse. So like
Mm-hmm. True.
but what has fundamentally changed for Mac people? I mean, the processor has fundamentally changed. So
Mm-hmm.
if you were on Intel, you probably want to get onto the new M series processor. But after that, like, what's going to fundamentally change to make you uh, want to upgrade?
Right.
They don't even change the look. Like they're so
Mm-hmm.
proud of themselves now for coming out with a black one,
Right.
like with a space black. Like I can't believe how many people were like space black. Oh, take my money. Like
Uh-huh.
how starved are we for like aesthetic changes that people are excited about going back to a color that they've always had that they had before in black, and that is one of the 2 or 3 colors that notebooks always come in, which are silver, gray, and black, or silver, white, and black,
Right.
or some type of gray. Like, call me when they go back to fruit flavors. Like,
Right. Right.
I want, I want a blueberry MacBook.
And here's the thing. They make the iMacs in those colors. So it's not like they've gone, we're not doing colors anymore. We're very monotone. The new generation of iMacs is in a whole variety of colors still. And so are the iPads. So we've already got the colored metal. So don't tell me it's a big thing. Y'all already have it. Because I'll tell you.
I mean, I think
I loved the iBooks, right? The clamshell with because they were weird. Look at me. How many? You know better than most. How many weird colored HTC and Nokia phones did I have over the years? Do I have in this room?
Right, you got to have some fun colors. Bring some fun colors back. I mean,
yeah.
I loved I didn't own one, but I was sorely tempted to get an iBook because I thought it was really cool. I loved the translucent plastic look of it. The weird shape of it.
It was so 90s though. Everything was translucent.
Oh, what's wrong with translucent? Bring it back. It's time for a comeback.
Nothing's wrong with it. It was just, there is a very, very clear window of time where even home phones.
Yeah. I mean, it was a thing, right?
Yeah.
It was a thing. I remember, now this was more 80s and 90s, but I remember when I was in high school and junior high, Swatch, and people would get the Swatch with a clear face, and you could see the gears inside, and I was like, that's cool. You can see it. Of course, in the PC world, build your own PC world, we're still there because most PCs that you build have a window, and we're getting, and a lot of the newer cases have 2 windows.
Yeah,
one down here too. And one of the new things that we're seeing a lot in the PC case space is that there's a front window also. So the side is a window, and then it wraps around, and you can see through the front too.
I have upstairs one of the cases we reviewed from Roseville a while ago is entirely tinted tempered glass, except for the back panel.
Yeah, I mean, there's a limit, right? Because you don't want to see all the ugly cables too. So
it definitely meant that I had to do very pretty cable management. And my brother's doing a build right now that's also glass on all sides, and he has gone to. Oh, I can't wait to send you pictures as soon as he's done with it.
Oh, I want to see this.
It is. I mean, it's a gorgeous cable management that he's done on this.
Oh, I want to see this. So, yeah, I mean, anyway, they should go back to colors. That's my 2 cents. But it's a tough PC market. It's a tough computer market. Apple does not target the low end of the market. And so, it's nice that their new M3 is supposed to be a lot faster, and maybe they can actually make a dent a little bit in gaming, a little bit more in gaming, and people being able to game on Mac. But nevertheless, it's a premium product. It's expensive. Not everyone is going to get one, and those who get one are not going to replace it that quickly. So, I don't know what the best future is for the computer industry in terms of getting people to upgrade more. I mean, remember the phone world where it was like when you had to wait 2 years, you kind of felt like you were really missing out on things that would have, like, you want to upgrade your phone every month or something. But now it's like, that's fine. I can wait 3 years, 4 years, get a new phone. Like it's not, because the rapid, the amount of improvement that you see from one generation to the next is not significant enough to really justify and I think we're seeing that issue with computers now. Maybe people, just to stand up for my people here, maybe PC builders are the ones that we should all be targeting, because they are people who want cutting edge stuff, and they don't have to replace every piece every year. So you could say, oh, you know what, this is the year that I'm going to upgrade my video card. This is the year that this is the month I'm going to upgrade my RAM or whatever. By giving people the flexibility to do more upgrades, you encourage people to buy things more often, I think. But in the vast majority of the computer market is laptops, and then maybe pre-built desktops, and then build your own PCs. So, for those folks, it's really all about, like, they're going to replace the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, I'm sitting here. My everyday laptop is a first gen Surface Book, which is a 6000 series processor, right? This thing's been around forever, and it continues to do what I need. And so, here we are. My desktop in my office is probably the newest, and I think it's a second gen Threadripper. So, I mean, even it's not new.
Right. Exactly.
So, it's affecting everybody, but that number in particular, 34%, that is a huge drop in computer sales, and I suspect it is because of the bump in sales because of the M series, and now we're back to a pretty normal, because it's about the amount that the sales increase was with the release of the M series processors. So I think they had a peak because of that, and we have plateaued back to normal. They've come back to earth. So obviously we'll see, but I suspect that that's exactly where we are. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell, because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.